Today's second guest, Ms. Suruchi Saini, is a certified clinical trauma specialist, a telemental health therapist, a certified yoga instructor. For over 16 years, she has been inspiring individuals via counseling, workshops, consultations, and motivational speaking.
Even in US here, a similar situation has been going on. And obviously I'm very in touch and in tune with what's going on in India because of my friends and family over there. So yes, we have gone through a very difficult time. And if we go by whether the science of psychology or science of life, it very clearly says that sometimes we do well as it is. But I think sometimes when we go through a difficult period, the period is difficult, but we do come out winning. So in this, here I have done a lot of webinars and organizations and corporates talking about the new normal. And interestingly, the new normal has shifted a couple of times in past 2 years, right? So if I start to kind of dissect our brains, everybody's, I think our brain has become much better, even though I know there is a mental health pandemic going on because of mild to moderate depression, high anxiety, high stress, which later we are going to touch base on. I think going back to my first point, if I dissect everybody's brain, I would like to do some kind of a scan where I can tell you people who have become resilient, like Dr. Kishore was saying, believe me, your brains have become more active. There are more parts of the brain which are functional now, because when we go through difficult time, we are always looking for how to survive this, how to do better, who to reach out, and what to read. A lot of people, because I coach a lot of people in India as well, and a lot of people have reported to me, they have never tried, self-help books. They never had a role model. So a lot of things have shifted positively as well. Yes, we missed friends, in many cases families, like you were saying, and they play a very important part. Actually, there is a lot of research that has been done that our interaction with people that we care and we like at least a couple of times a week is very, very important for our mental growth. So that we have missed, but hey, thanks to digital environment, and I'm sure youngsters love it. So the video chats, the texting, as long as it's not going out of control, texting, chatting, hanging out, people became very, very creative, not going inside, sitting in the driveways, and sitting in the parks, bringing their own folding chairs, maintaining distance. So I think the creativity was at its peak in a very interesting way. How to survive. I almost feel like it's like, we are 21st century people, human beings, and somebody left us in woods. And initially we were like, oh my God, I don't know. Where is my food? Where is my phone? Where is my shelter? Where are my family? And then we started maneuvering through it. And, here we are. So there is a lot of positive side to it. But like I said, there is a world, across the world, mental health pandemic going on. And it is our duty, our responsibility for ourselves and our near dear ones to be patient with yourself, and also be patient with the parents and grandparents and even neighbors for that matter. Because the flip side is, I can tell you, there are hardly any people who are not affected. Maybe monks, and we have a way to go until we become monks in our, a few decades later, but everybody is affected. So I think people have become more patient. Initially the reaction was different, because it's almost like this. I think the way the things or our freedom was taken away, it's almost like this. My whole work is on my computer or laptop, and you take away my laptop and then say, okay, do what you can. That's what happened to the world. So initial reactions, a lot of anxiety, stress, unpredictability, like you said. But today we are I think we are more, like you said, resilient, We are more creative. We are more, there are a lot of inventions going on. Kids have become creative, and all the young men and women who are listening to us today, I'm sure they have figured out, that this works for them, this doesn't work for them. If it doesn't work, where I need to reach, who are the people in my circle of strength or in my circle of support, friends, parents, grandparents, a wise teacher, professor, doctor, therapist. People are aware. It's just we need to put structure, which I think when when we are in our teens or early adulthood, which I'm sure Dr. Kishore is, has dealt with it a lot more. I'm just going to say for all the young men and women who are listening, please remember that until we are 24, 25, our prefrontal cortex, which is the house of our judgment center, emotional regulation, and executive functioning, is not as such fully developed. It takes 25 years for a human being. Until then, be nice to you. Have expectations, work hard, hang out with friends, no problems, but be nice to you. You cannot be so hard on yourself that ye nahi ho raha hai, why it is not happening. There is a reason, there is a scientific, neuroscientific reason. So patience helps, hard work helps, staying connected helps, and having self-control on your mind, protect your brain. That goes a long, long way. Your brain is your best friend. That I can assure you, right? So stay tuned. We'll talk more about it. Thank you.
So I have a question for you. It's basically like you said that now we have settled down with that lifestyle. At first, there was anxiety and stress about COVID, obviously. But now, don't you think that this whole cycle that we are living in, just waking up and all that, hasn't it been a bit monotonous and like boring? Because obviously that should increase the stress when you're living the same life, working from home, doing everything at your home, not going anywhere. Now it's obviously opening here, but I think it becomes a bit monotonous, and that leads to stress. So I have to like ask you, like, how should a person like calm them when this is happening?
Sure, that's a good question. So I think it's very important for all of us to be aware of what terminology and what messages we are giving to our own brain, right? Because when I look into boredom is when we don't have anything to do. So my question is, maybe we don't have the same things that we were doing to do, but there is nothing to do. So if I question myself, and I will tell you, initially it happened with me also, because there was a lifestyle that, we are living. But then and I'm always a reader. I read a lot. I love reading, right? So my question is that, okay, I know about psychology enough. I know about therapy enough, but do I know about everything else? And I was the person who, when I was in high school, and you can laugh on it, I used to run away from physics, run away. And now I am the person who also started reading about physics, who also reading about chemistry, and I was not good at it. All I loved was biology, and I loved it. And clearly, I think it shows why I'm a psychologist. So I started reading about it because I wanted to know about that. And I'm not going like doing deep study. So there is so much to learn. There is so much to learn in this world. I started reading about more and more about Ayurveda also, because the brain functioning, everything that is happening in US, the almost whole field of psychology is, if you pick up books, it's all mind yoga put into theory and sold. So, so I started reading about it, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God. So I think for me, when I say, and I'm sharing this about me because I wanted to share that with all young women and men who are listening, that there is no dearth of knowledge. There is no dearth of information that is available as long as we are using, because everything that we read, we cannot forget. We might put it in a bucket somewhere in the corner, but we don't forget. That is the beauty of human brain. So I think pandemic in an interesting way, give us the calm down, right? And then a lot of information was available, and neuroscience have proven that when we are not hyper, or when we are not running around, we are best learners on the planet. So boredom is when you don't know that there is something to learn. Maybe you are not looking. Maybe there is something else. Sometimes we are very focused on that I'm an engineering student, I'm a medical student, I'm a psychologist, I am a person who deals with geography. So I'm just going to read about that. Says who? Why? Not fair. Our brain is amazing. I really feel like I wish I could dissect all parts. Our brain can take a lot. So did I answer your question? I can go on for hours.
Totally. Would love
Thank
to
you.
hear you for someday.
Sure, thank you. You know, we have, as human species, we have made so much progress, and I'm not discounting that a few things are not happening the right way as well. I think that's part of our existence. You know, the world is also a replica of our home. In many ways, our own room. Everything is not perfect. In studies, everything is not fine. In family, everything is not fine. There are pockets that we continue to work on. But I think in general, the advances that we have made in past few years, and especially in past 2 years, in a very interesting way, I think it gives us more hope in a way. Yes, medically, we didn't do well because of pandemic, but the way things have come up, at least India, because I'm very close, you know, like I say, my heart is always in India and nothing can change that. I'm very close to the inventions, and for that matter, for young men and women, you know, the video games that are coming up. I have never played them and I don't plan to. But those are like, these are the kids, they're like the young men and women who have come up. You know, look at the blogs, look at the, it's amazing to see what's going on, and vlogs also. So there is a lot happening. Just make sure everybody is part of that. We don't need to go against it. You know, study is important. Yes, as a student, it's the main job. But I would highly recommend, if you can do something different for you, in addition to doing well in studies, please don't hesitate. This is the time to live in. Our grandparents did not have that. Even I did not have it. You know, all these opportunities available. Just stay structured. That's important. Like I said, protect your brain. You'll be much better.
Good evening, everyone present out here. So I have one question. As much as we talked about resilience and patience, we also can't forget that I feel people have also become more vulnerable in terms of their emotions. I don't know if it's 101% healthy too, because I feel as much as we've started to recognize our emotions, we've also started overthinking way too much. Like things which don't deserve our attention, we've been putting too much efforts into that. So my question would be, what do you what do you feel is emotions coming out in this manner a positive impact because of this pandemic, or we really need to regulate that too? Like, how do we practice that care for our brain wherein we put it in a zone that, oh, this doesn't deserve our attention, this doesn't serve us, we do not have to spend so much time thinking about it?
My take on this, Akshita, that's a beautiful name. My take on this, Akshita, is that you're right. When we are suddenly thrown into this world of emotions as a young woman or as young man, sometimes it becomes difficult. And that's exactly why I was saying that, until we are 25, our prefrontal cortex is not really developed. So emotional regulation is slightly difficult for most of the people. But just to make it easy, the very practical things that have helped so many of my clients is that when so we need to understand recognition of emotion, reacting accordingly, and then how to not continue to react. Because we need to understand that when emotions are very, very high, or when reaction continues to happen, our intelligence go down. It's a scientific fact. When emotions are very high, our intelligence goes down. And we need to remember this for life. So going back to recognizing emotion, that's great. This is exactly what I was saying. Your generation and the younger generation have this plethora of information where they know how to recognize emotions. I don't think so people in my generation or our parents' generation ever did that, or they had opportunity to do it. So step one, no problems. Step two, emotional reaction. So reaction, I'll say reaction could be anxiety. It could be mild to moderate depression, or just reaction, normal reaction. So having anxiety is very natural. We are not, away from having anxiety or stress, because there is some, these are very growth oriented also. I mean, imagine you are sitting in the classroom, your professor is teaching, your teacher is teaching, and you're like, I'm not anxious, I'll learn whatever I want to learn. So anxiety, stress can also be growth oriented as long as it is controlled in a way. Then comes the step three, how to stop it. So my easier way is first get in touch with a professional. It will help you, right? If that is not possible for any time, develop few coping skills. All of you are living in India. The world is learning from India. Who cannot have 10 minutes of silent time? Who cannot have 5 minutes extra long shower? And who cannot, or who is not aware of how to meditate, or to do basic stretch. I'm not even asking you to go join yoga, right? So basic stretch, because usually our reactions are when some part of our body is like hyper. So we need to calm that down, and your breath, your breathing is your best friend after the brain, or maybe before the brain also. So the easier way will be first to develop these basic coping skills. Second, what I used to do, I remember in college, every time when anxiety will hit me, I will give it like good 30 minutes. All right, go on. Because sometimes anxiety will also give you information, why it is happening, what is bothering me, what is my trigger, like who triggered me, what did I do wrong, what did like my circumstance has that it is bothering me. So when I started realizing that, I gave myself a good boundary that after 30 minutes, I'm going to use my coping skill. So that way I'm not invalidating my feelings or emotions, but I am also putting a full stop, like pause, coping skill. And I can tell you, if not always, most of the times your anxiety or your emotions will calm down, because we need our emotions to be in some sort of control to stay intelligent. Does that help?
Yeah, I just have a small follow-up question to this. What do you think is breaking down way too often a healthy coping mechanism, or it is detrimental for you?
Say it again, sorry.
Is breaking down in terms of crying a lot a good coping mechanism, or we consider it detrimental for our well-being?
So I'll say, if we are crying for some time, let's say 5, 10, 15 minutes, I really don't think there is anything wrong with it. Because people, sometimes we don't realize that when we cry, we do release endorphins. When tears come out, we release endorphins, and they are natural painkillers, whether the pain is mental or physical. right? So crying is also a natural criteria. There is nothing wrong in that. Again, if we continue to do that, or if we allow us to continue to do that beyond 30 minutes, maybe your limit is 25, maybe your limit is 45. So if we are not true to ourselves and we continue it to happen and not use coping skills, that's where things go wrong. Emotions are very healthy. We feel more human. But if we don't know how to manage them, that's where things start to become dicey.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I wanted to ask that is it okay, like recognizing is one part, but for example, we talk about in terms of families due to the pandemic, as we got to spend more time with our families, many people were caught in very toxic family situations. Okay, you recognize that, you accept your reality, but do you accept being in that environment, or what is the right way to deal with it? That's what I want to ask.
I think in a relationship, I'll just say like for a minute that in relationship, if it is between family members, then I would say that, we cannot forget. And again, it's written in a lot of mind yoga books as well. But as a science, we should not never forget that even though we are family of 4, 5, 6, but we are individuals who by universe, nature, or whatever you believe in are put together in a one household. So it is very important for us to remember that yes, we are related, we love them, and we came through our parents and everything. But there is an independent human being residing in yourself. So when Prachi talked about self-care, when Dr. Kishore talked about self-care, self-care also tells you that it's good to be independent. It's good to know your strengths, that I'm good at it. If the family is toxic you are living in, look for maybe friends, professors, teachers, counselors. In some cases, doctors are wonderful, so they become your kind of friends. But as a human being, there is no way we cannot find a solution. That's important part, and we do need to remember that, because not everybody is in the best family that could ever happen. And when it comes to relationship, like Prachi said, you try your best, but if it's not working, you got to move away, because codependency is not good. Independence is needed. So if we are independent here, our action, our thoughts, our behaviors will be independent. So know your strength, know your personality. If you are able to recognize something in family or relationship, it's very important to act accordingly. Like an introvert person, if you are introvert personality type, you probably will internalize everything. That's where I mentioned a few minutes back, stop. An extrovert person will always step out to talk to people, and they'll find out a way to handle the situation. So it's so basically self-knowledge, self-care, the most important. And you know yourself and try to know you more, because this is just my way of measuring it. There is no situation about it. But I always say scientifically we change every month. Our brain cells are new brain cells every single month. Our behavior can remain same, what we have been carrying for maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 20 years. So if you have this knowledge, think what can be done if you are in a poor relationship, whether at home or in a relationship, right? So our brain cells change every month. If we continue to behave like, now imagine if I am in a college and I continue to and throw tantrums like maybe a 10-year-old, that's not going to help us. Forget about everybody. It's not about embarrassing in front of other people. I cannot do that. That's not my behavior. We have developmental stages and we are supposed to act, think, behave accordingly. So, the easy way, and that will be my last suggestion, that easy way out is every year. If you cannot do this every month, every year, whenever the new year begins, like Prachi mentioned, have goals. I mentioned have your strengths, have some self-care plan. Every year, sit down with yourself take 15-30 minutes and think back at your year, and you can still do it. How did you do in 2021? What was productive? What helped you? And what didn't? The things which were productive helped you keep them shining in front of you. The things that you feel that didn't help me, I would urge you to let it go, so that 2022, no same mistakes or no same behaviors become part of your life. We get one life, and you matter, and you are important. So you are important for others. I would like you to feel you are important for yourself. So let go of certain behaviors. Thank you.
So thank you so much for your insight, ma'am. That was wonderful.